Welcome to the Genesis of the Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Joy.
And I'm Triss.
And for today's episode, we're watching the third and fourth serials of Season 12 with the Sontaran Experiment and Genesis of the Daleks. We're finally at the story that we named the podcast after.
After all this time, we finally gotten here.
Yep. But we have the Sontaran Experiment first, which I can't really say I have strong feelings on because it's pretty short.
Yeah, for Classic Who, there's really not many instances of only like 2 episode stories. Like you could probably count the amount of times that happens on like 1 or 2 hands, and it's a short story. I'm still convinced this is like 2 episodes that like were left over from something earlier that was supposed to be longer. That they're like, well, now we have 2 extra episodes. We have the Sontaran suit from last season. Let's just repurpose it.
Yeah, I looked it up in the last story, The Ark in Space, and this one, they just decided Robert Holmes just didn't really like 6-parters, so he just split them up into a 4-parter and a 2-parter.
Yeah, okay, so
and
exactly what we thought.
The Ark in Space was entirely filled on sets, and then this one was entirely on location. So it's basically, this is the location shooting for the Ark in Space, essentially.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. They divided up between what was studio and what was like outside. Okay. That's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah, Robert Holmes was the one that made the Sontaran, so he was like, hey, just here, you could make a Sontaran story. And then apparently he gave the writers a 3-hour brief on Sontaran culture, including their sex lives.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
They were like, none of that matters. We just need to know that he's like a weird froggy guy. It's all that matters.
I kind of love that he had that like prepared. Like he came up with the lore, everything to possibly know.
Yeah. And this is there hasn't been a 2-parter since The Rescue with Vicky's introduction. It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, that's why I say like you could probably count the amount of 2-parters at this point on one hand. Like there's not many.
Yeah. It was a neat story. I kind of liked the humans, and then you find out one of them is a traitor. Although you kind of find that out right away because he has a camera on him.
I think it did a really good job giving individual spotlights once again to each of the Doctor and both companions. Because like even though Harry is a bit bumbling, he got to do quite a bit on his own this story too.
Yeah, and they all kept like going different ways and then eventually meeting up again.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how Sarah thought it was Lynx.
I really liked that,
confused.
actually. I actually really liked how they played that up, and it's really like your nice introduction to how the Sontarans like all look identical, or like the clone race aspect to them, and also really kind of builds off of what her first adventure with the Doctor was.
Yeah. I also liked right at the start of the story where Harry's asking like, "What about Sarah?" And then you hear "help," and the Doctor's like, "Ah, that sounds like Sarah."
Somehow
calmly.
ended up in a completely different area.
Yeah, and she was upside down.
It is really neat how this builds right off of the Ark in Space, though. Like how it, it literally transitions directly into it. Like how they ended up here theoretically wouldn't make sense without that story, and they're here for that. So much of the exposition that they have and explaining to the other people is tied to that previous adventure.
Yeah. And I just kind of liked getting to see a bit more of Sontaran as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just
different sides of them.
Further expanding them. Yeah. I found it very funny how, like, when he dies, he just, like, the suit just collapses in on itself, and that's what they did.
It is really funny that that's what they decided to do. They laid out the suit and have it collapse in on itself because nobody's in it. Like, it was quite silly. It was pretty silly. It's a little unfortunate that that's what they had to do to get rid of the Sontaran, where it's like, oh, he's gonna go feed on energy. Well, what if the energy feeds on him? Oh, well, Doctor, maybe you should have told Harry that's what he was doing.
Yeah. And there is a sad story that the guy that played the Sontaran, he also played Lynx in the previous one, and he was Choji in Planet of Spiders. He died of a heart condition 2 months after the story aired.
Oh, wow. That's unfortunate.
He was the original Sontaran, and then, well, he couldn't be the Sontaran anymore.
Yeah,
He wasn't with us.
it's unfortunate.
And if you notice that Tom Baker had his scarf on like really high, that's because he. This is a story where he broke his collarbone during filming,
Oh,
so they used the
okay.
scarf to hide the neck brace.
Yikes. He
I,
did quite a
I,
lot despite that. What happened during filming here? Did he
I
just
think he just fell
trip?
or something.
Oof,
I'm not
fell
sure
on the
exactly.
rocks.
Yeah.
Oof.
And then he was worried that he was going to lose the role, and they're like, "Well, you have a scarf, so we can just, if you're willing to film, we can just kind of make it work."
Hmm. Poor guy must have been in a lot of pain though.
Yeah. And this was like the second one that they filmed because I think they filmed this before The Ark in Space. So he was like, very early on, he was worried he was going to lose the role because
Yeah.
he hurt himself on the set.
Wow,
But
that's
it all
actually
worked
very
out.
surprising that happened that quickly.
Yeah. I really didn't have a lot of note about the story because there really wasn't much to it.
Yeah, there's not a ton. I mean, I think it's fascinating that the Sontarans are experimenting on people to try to figure out their weaknesses. But I
Yeah.
think the biggest glaring problem I had with it is what is the point of doing this on Earth if the Earth isn't inhabited in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, you could have just come in and taken it because it isn't inhabited right now.
I think they were like wanting to attack one of the other places where humans were, and they're just using this as an opportunity to test on them, is what they
I
were saying.
guess. Yeah, that's fair.
Because there was like the fleet commander he was talking to who was somewhere else.
Hmm.
It's just, the humans have an empire across the stars, and they want to attack that empire.
Yeah, seems like it.
Although I guess they kind of just lucked into finding humans here, because a spaceship crashed, and they're like, oh, well, perfect time.
Well,
We
no,
need
because I think
test subjects.
I think they lured them there with the stress signal.
Right.
But that's what I find strange about it. Like, why lure them to the Earth?
Yeah.
If the Earth was supposed to be abandoned and not support life anymore. Like,
They just,
surely it would have been better for the Centaurans to just come take the uninhabited planet and then go from there.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a little strange in the pretense, but I mean, the execution of it all was fun. I mean, and then that their journey does not end there. Of course, they
Yeah.
they still don't get sent back to where they need to go, and they're still separated from the TARDIS.
Yep, because when they're teleporting back, the Time Lords interfere and pull them away to Scarrow. And I loved how at the beginning the Doctor is very upset that they're interfering in his life, and then they say, "Well, we want you to fight dogs." And it's like, "Oh, go on."
Yeah, he's
I'll
just
do
like,
that.
well, yeah, maybe I would have done that already. So
Yeah. And then this is also where the Doctor steps on a landmine, which inspired Stephen Moffat to write Boom.
that was a great scene. So yeah, now that we're like
Yeah.
fully talking about Genesis of the Daleks, episode 1, like pretty early on, like immediately, like he steps on a landmine. I guess he forgot he can use his sonic screwdriver to really detect them well, like he did in
Yeah.
the Sea Devils. A really good scene with Harry, and that's probably in part because
Yeah.
it's not as high tech of a landmine as what we had in Boom, but it was definitely like a good tense moment for them.
Yeah. A nice little Harry scene to have that.
Hmm.
Especially since we don't have Harry with us for long.
Yeah, but Harry's like kind of the main companion with the Doctor through most of the story, which is actually
Yeah.
really good. He's really getting his time to shine very quickly, and he's proving himself very capable and dependable.
Yeah.
Not that Sarah Jane isn't. I should stress.
Sarah
Not,
just
not,
has her
not that
her
she
own
isn't.
story.
Yeah. She's kind of like the other protagonist that we follow. She keeps getting the other focus without the Doctor, whereas Harry is kind of the
Yeah.
companion with the Doctor.
Yeah. I guess that's because Harry was written for like action scenes if the Doctor actor wasn't able to.
Yeah.
And the Kala uniforms were very, very obviously Nazi uniforms.
Just a little bit.
the main guy even had an Iron Cross on his shirt for a bit,
Yeah.
but then they removed it. I guess they just didn't want it to be that obvious.
They decided it was too much.
Yeah.
But this was like a really fascinating story, I think. I think a lot of the setup here was really good. I mean, we know all about the war between the Thals and, what became the Daleks from earlier stories. We know the far future of all of that when the Thals become a peace-loving race. But it's fascinating to see the point at which, they have been at war for 1,000 years. And
Yeah.
the war doesn't even really make sense anymore. It is just both sides trying to completely annihilate the other, which is awful. And there's no good in that. And I think it's fascinating how they explore that both sides are awful, but ultimately it's the Khalids and the fact that Davros is trying to eliminate all of them together that makes it even worse.
Yeah. They've been at war for 1,000 years, so they probably don't even know what started the war.
No.
They
At
just
that
hate
point,
each
no.
other.
Yeah.
It's, a very intensely political story written by somebody that lived through Nazi times.
Yeah.
You can tell where he was inspired.
I think...
Apparently,
yeah, go ahead.
originally Terry Nation was commissioned by Barry Letts, who was our previous producer. And then the script he turned in was basically, I think like the first two scripts he turned in were like, it was the repeat of Planet of the Daleks and Death to the
Oh my
Daleks.
God.
So Barry Letts
Not
was
again.
like, okay, try something different. Let's do something about the genesis of the Daleks. And then that was where the idea came from.
Nice. Finally, something a little bit more different.
Yeah. So that's why it went in a very different direction. Just because he was told to. And this is actually the last time we will ever see the Thals on the TV show, which kind of implies that maybe they didn't survive in this timeline, because the Doctor changed the timeline.
That's true.
I know they're in like some expanded universe material, but they're never in the TV show again. So, but Davros is in every remaining Classic Who story now. So even though he died in this story, he didn't actually die. Don't worry about it.
The Thals came pretty close to coming back, I imagine, in The Magician's Apprentice and Series 9 with Capaldi, since that's young Davros in the middle of the war.
Yeah.
Early on in the war, mind you. Or earlier, I should say. It's thousands of years, 100 years. But I imagine there were Thals there. They just weren't, like, named. Or they didn't really go into them that much. But
the implication is just that, like, when the Daleks would have gotten out of the bunker, they probably just killed all the Thals. And then that's how it went.
yeah,
And then they eventually... They remembered that a Time Lord tried to interfere, so they started a war with the Time Lords. And this was step one in the Time War.
Yep. It does make you wonder how much of like the earlier Dalek stories are changed because of this. Because technically, the Doctor did destroy the recording. There are technically no records of it, and I highly doubt Davros fully remembers it.
Yeah, I think the next time Davros comes back, they just say that like the Daleks didn't manage to turn off his life support system, so it just slowly kept him alive. So maybe he doesn't remember everything, but I don't know. We'll see. We got like 5 years before we see him again.
Yeah, it's quite a while before he really comes back. But I do think Davros was fascinating here because he's really like barely alive. Like I know like Modern Who really paints him almost like a cyborg like creature where he's like growing the Daleks from his own body cells and he's got like the cybernetic arm and he's like only really the upper half of his body is him. He's like very robotic, but like I didn't realize like even back at this point he was still very like robotic. Like you really hear when he yells the Dalek voice in him, which is actually really cool.
Yeah. And they actually got the actor that played Davros was one of the people that used to do the Dalek voices. So they
makes
did
perfect
that.
sense.
Yeah. That's why he sounds very Dalek-like, because he was actually the Dalek voices.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, he was just, like, he's such a well-written character already as well. It's just like, he comes in fully formed, and you already know, like, what he's all about and everything.
Yeah. and they do great build up to it as well. It's not like it's
Yeah.
not like we see him from the get go. Like it's constantly like hearing about him and then seeing, oh, he's created Daleks. He's just a mad scientist. But then it's really exemplified as we see more scenes between him and Niter, and then him and the Doctor, and really seeing he is actually just a megalomaniac, mad with power. He
Yeah.
doesn't even want to rule. He wants that power to end all life.
Yeah. I love the little scene of like the talking about the virus. If you had a virus that
Yes.
could destroy all life, would you do it? And he says, "Yes, I would."
But
After a long monologue.
I love that it had the long monologue for that, though.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just, fascinating. Yes, of course. Like, they really built it up. You saw, like, the processing he went through of what that would mean, what that could do, how he could benefit from doing that, and how it would work for him. And you kind of see him, like, rising in excitement as he realizes that's a great idea. And
Yeah.
it does a great job establishing what kind of character he is.
Yeah. And really highlighting the difference between the Doctor and him as well. The Doctor comes up with the idea thinking it would be him saying no, and then no, he says yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, the doctor comes across somebody he can't just talk out of it to some degree. Not that he
Yeah.
hasn't before, but even every other villain he's attempted to talk down to some degree, talk them out of it a bit. They at least like consider it to a degree, or there's some level of reasons why they can't. But this is purely just really thinks on it. Yes, that sounds excellent, actually.
Yeah. Like there was a lot of well-written characters in this as well. Like a lot of supporting cast were all like very well-written characters with depth to them and everything.
For the most part, I agree. I do think there's a couple that kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
The one mutant that was friends with Sarah Jane and then was kind of like part of the main resistance at the end, he kind of just felt like he was there the whole time by circumstance. And they didn't really do anything to the idea of the mutants either. They kept talking them up, and realistically, it was just another way to have like racism and segregation and whatnot. But both sides being so hostile to them, only for there really not being anything of depth to them, was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Also, the woman on the Thal side who kind of just randomly shows up when the Doctor's there becomes a light companion, so to say, as he helps her escape, and then she becomes the leader of the resistance. I don't even remember her name. Like she just kind of randomly showed up, presented in a way as if we had already seen her before, and she just immediately trusts the Doctor.
Yeah. I'd say those two were definitely a little forced into the story there.
Yeah.
But I think like all the scientists and Niter and like everyone on the college side, they were all like well written characters with so much to do.
Yeah, I really liked the depth of the characters on that side, because you see a lot of them is the reason they fall for Davros' scheme is ultimately because they part of them still wants to believe in him, but they don't want the genocidal aspects of it. And it's fascinating seeing the Doctor work with them and them try to come to these agreements, because I feel like, if the Doctor was able to convince them about Davros working with the Thals to have launched the missile and, wipe out the rest of the Khalids, maybe they wouldn't have even considered trying to make a peace with Davros. Maybe it would have turned differently.
I did find it a little funny how they just like walk into very obvious traps. It's like, Niter says like, hey, we should go meet where nobody else will see us, to the main dude, and then, well, turns out Niter wasn't on your side. And then at the end, Davros is like, let me speak my mind to all of the elite, all in one place, all at the same time. Nothing's gonna go bad here.
You know,
Then he just invites his Daleks.
while we are talking about the morality of having immoral killing machines, you know,
Yeah,
like it's especially like as the scene goes on, you see more and more that like he's dropping his facade more and
yeah,
more as it goes on because he's kind of getting impatient for the Daleks to show up and just kill everyone already.
yeah. There was really good camera work with the Daleks too. Like I
Yes.
really liked when they were like out in no man's land and you saw the people underneath where the Daleks went across,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a
Very
lot of
good
really
shots with
good.
them.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good shots with that. That really helped them feel imposing and scary.
Yeah,
And then, of course, we have one of the Doctor's biggest speeches up to
yep,
this point. You know, the scene that makes this story so iconic from the end of the story. The first episode, or so, the first few minutes of the end of the story.
do I have the right? Very good monologue from him.
It is a very, very good monologue. I think it does a great job establishing and also just kind of building off of the Doctor's mindset on life in the universe from everything we've seen thus far and the journey he's had and the journey that is to come. The fact that even like Sarah Jane and Harry can't like fully convince him because there's good and bad. This decision
Yeah,
is so heavy.
as evil as the Daleks are, there's also everybody that joined together to fight them, and there's
Yeah.
all those
The good that unites against the
alliances.
evil. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I kind of like how that scene just ends with like them saying like, "Hey, Davros has given up," and the doctor would probably, if he thought it through, not trust Davros, but because he just wanted a way to not have to do it, he
Yeah.
just accepted it.
I was gonna say I think in any other circumstance the Doctor would realize that was a trap and not go through with it. But I think
Yeah,
he really didn't want to have to resort to doing that. That he was willing to jump on that very quick.
yeah,
He had hope, basically.
yep,
But I do think later in the episode, it's a little frustrating that despite that big moment for him, he decides I'm gonna go back and do it anyway.
yeah, and then ends up not doing anything ultimately.
Well,
Like
he
he
sets
kills
it
them,
back
but
up.
then
He sets it back up, and then the Dalek kind of runs over the cables.
yeah, so like they die, but then the Daleks are just going to make more of them because it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, they're just
You left
entombed.
them in the bunker, so they can just set it back up again, and they're
Yep,
good.
yep. That was a little frustrating to me in the sense of after that whole big speech, I feel like he should have just settled on entombing them or destroying the entire bunker because
Yeah,
everyone except Davros is dead at that point. But to have had that big speech at the start of the episode, only to in like a really quick line, I'm gonna go do it this time, and he just goes off to try and do that. That was a
yeah.
little disappointing in my opinion. But I
You know,
mean,
part of me wonders if maybe the story originally had a different ending, and then they decided, well, they didn't want to not have Daleks in the future, so
yeah,
maybe originally Daleks were just not going to be in there anymore because like we don't have Daleks for another 5 seasons anyways.
hmm
But then I guess they decided they didn't want to write themselves into a corner where they could never have Daleks back.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I definitely think it could be something along those lines.
Yeah, and then just hastily had to write a different ending.
hmm
'Cause, yeah, Terry Nation comes back next year, but it's for one of his very few non-Dalek stories next
Oh,
year. So
the rare non-Daleks.
it's the Android Invasion next year. He writes that one,
Oh, okay.
and then he doesn't come back until season 17 with another Dalek story.
hmm
Yeah, I had seen Genesis of Daleks like a decade ago, but I didn't really remember that much about it. But
Yeah,
I quite
same.
enjoyed it. It's a
No,
very good story.
I really liked the pacing of this story and how like there's just constant tension
Yeah.
like on all sides.
Normally, you would think going back and forth between two different bases would get repetitive, but they definitely did a lot with it, and it worked.
And it worked really well too. I think the sets for these bases are really good too. And also just
Yeah,
like the war zones.
yeah. And this is the last story that will not have the TARDIS in it until midnight in Modern Who. So we will have the TARDIS in every story for the remainder.
Wow. That's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah. Because there were a couple earlier in Classic Who, and then Modern Who does it occasionally. And according to the expanded universe stuff, the Dalek that shot Davros it went on to be the Dalek Emperor from The Evil of the Daleks.
Oh, okay.
Which I guess that checks out, because it's like, oh, you killed Davros, so you get to be our leader now. But I guess in the original timeline, Davros just didn't survive at all. But in this one, he kind of did.
Man, I'm so fascinated by the conception of Davros as a character. I think, like,
Yeah.
I've always found Davros as a character fascinating, but like really seeing like the start of him, I think it's so fascinating to see. I guess a character that embodies why the Daleks were made and why they, quote unquote, evolved into that direction. Because realistically, Davros killed the entirety of the Khalids and most of the Thals. Hard to say timeline wise if the Thals actually survived or not, whatever. But the fact that the Khalids all died and are essentially all reborn as Daleks, which as time goes on are more so born from him specifically in a lot of instances, it's fascinating because he really does consider himself a scientist so strong he's a god.
Yeah. You can definitely tell it's, probably inspired by nuclear bombs and stuff like that. World War II had scientists on both sides, and they invented terrible stuff on both sides. I didn't have a lot of other notes for this story.
I think the only other note that I have here is the use of Sarah Jane throughout the story was a little weird to me. I like that she had her own adventure, but I feel like she had a little bit too much. I think they went a little too far with the plot armor for her.
Yeah.
For her surviving some of these situations.
You lead the revolution and it fails, but then they threaten to kill her, and then they don't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they threatened to kill her multiple times. They nearly kill her several times. So it's kind of... I feel like this, for most other companions, would have been a breaking point of either they die or everything after this would become I want to go home. I can't do this anymore.
That she's just too into the adventure.
I guess so.
I will say that Big Finish has like a whole line of, what if the Doctor actually killed the Daleks here story, in which Sarah and Harry actually died here as well at the same time, and the Doctor barely made it out, and he regenerated into Colin Baker, which is weird because he's the fifth Doctor in that universe.
That's fascinating.
So it's called Doctor Who Unbound, Doctor of War, and there's like 6 stories in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just Unbound used to be like the what if of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, this is a very popular one, and it would be interesting to explore that. But then, I think he doesn't manage to get back the time ring in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah and Harry get shot by Daleks before they get out of there.
Yeah. I mean, there was a high risk of that happening, so... Yeah,
and then the Khalids who survive have the time rings, so they develop time travel, and then the Time War still happens.
Yeah, that's not good.
I might check those out now that I've seen this story.
Yeah, now that we've seen it, that might be worth checking out. That's fascinating. But I
think it's just funny. It's just funny that Colin Baker is the 5th Doctor in that one, and not the 6th.
What moment in time happened to completely erase Peter Davidson?
I think it's like because he gets shot while he's on Skaro, and then the Time Lords gave him like the elixir that the 8th Doctor took, so he becomes the Warrior. But it's Colin Baker as the Warrior.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild to be past the story that our podcast is named after now.
Yeah,
It felt so far in.
probably about like halfway through Classic Who,
Something like that.
roughly.
Something like that.
Yeah, we do have a lot of news to talk about.
Yeah, we have a lot of news now.
We've been having good news the last couple episodes, but now we have bad news that Doctor Who's not on Tubi TV anymore. It just out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, it's leaving in 10 days, and then yeah, it left in Canada this morning. I'm not sure if US was today.
So, contextually of when we are recording this, we were recording this on Saturday, November 15th, and
Yeah.
Tubi was counting down to midnight Saturday the 15th. Midnight Eastern,
Yeah.
at least for me. Except on the last day, so on the 14th, it said expires today. That's all it said. And
Yeah,
my husband and I were in the middle of we were in the middle of season 10 with the third Doctor. So we were in the middle of the final Master story, basically. The final story Roger got as Master. Yesterday morning, we watched the fifth part, and I checked at noon, I checked at 4, it was all still up. He went to go put it on at 10 p.m., and it was gone. And we were like, oh, at what point in the evening did they decide, yeah, it's late enough, and we're just gonna take it down? Like, it wasn't at noon, it wasn't, like, early in the day, so it's at I guess it's when most of the world is at the next day? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But sadly, Doctor Who is no longer on Tubi. I think, while I'm frustrated by that, it will ultimately be good, because it means wherever Doctor Who ends up next, they can offer the entire back catalog except for what's at Disney, which is only, like, what, 20 episodes?
Yeah. Although the thing is that, like, Tubi never had an exclusive deal for Classic Who, because, like, it is on BritBox still.
Mm-hmm.
At least in North America. Although I know BritBox doesn't have it worldwide. I don't know exactly where BritBox still has it, but yeah. And it is going on, the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel.
Yeah.
For certain countries. Unfortunately, not for Canada, so
Oh.
I have limited options there. But yeah. I guess we'll have to see what happens with that, and hopefully it does go somewhere at some point.
It would be incredibly frustrating if it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I say all this knowing, maybe it'll end up somewhere else. Yeah, that might still take like a year, though, which is very frustrating. Like, we don't know where Doctor Who's going to end up. But I do firmly believe the BBC is trying to go, look, if you support us, not only are you getting the future of the show, you were getting the 9th through 13th Doctors, you were getting the 1st through 8th Doctors. You're getting everything, which would probably make it far more desirable, because it was frustrating when it was at Disney that it was only the new stuff. Nothing from the back catalog was put on there. So in July, when it disappeared from HBO Max and most other places, it's like, oh, well, that makes it harder to watch. But I think that's why they let it run out here at Tubi. I don't think it was an exclusive, you're right. But I think it was probably still, like, the place that it's all available on. Because, I mean, like, Tubi's free. So I think it was still, like, the main place internationally for Classic Who, without having to pay, like, certain subscriptions. Because, I mean, like, I bought, all the seasons of Modern Who on Amazon Prime Video back in the day, and I still have access to those because I bought them. So I think BritBox is probably considered something similar, where you're paying the subscription, so that's like a... that's something like separate. I don't know. It's the world of streaming is weird. We have so much streaming, we might as well go back to cable.
Yeah, and Tubi TV did, like, they put it on Doctor Who. Doctor Who was put on Tubi, like, midway through November of 2023, so it was probably just a 2-year contract that they had.
Oh, it was that recent, too?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago was when they added it.
2 years to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the show.
Yeah. That does make you wonder if maybe they were thinking, like, will the Disney deal not last already at that time? Because they're like, well, we'll give you exactly 2 years because that will be the end of the Disney deal, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And then at that point, they would then be able
And they
to
were
decide if they
future-proofing
want to
it.
renew things or.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know
how
what.
long? How long was it on HBO Max? The modern Who specifically, because I know that contract ran out this past summer.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Because I think it was on there since before the Disney deal, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like in Canada, it was on Amazon Prime, and I'm honestly not sure when it went on there either.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like Modern Who goes to different streaming services all the time. It used to be on Netflix back in the day.
I remember that. We need it all in one place again. Other than BBC iPlayer, unless you want to make the BBC iPlayer international, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be complicated though, because BBC iPlayer is like you have to have a British TV license.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to. Technically, they don't ask you for proof if you ever use a VPN.
That's
They just
pretty
ask
funny,
you, like,
actually.
do you have one? And then
Yes.
if you say yes, then, well, there you go. You can watch all the stuff on there.
That's really funny, actually.
But yeah. Unfortunately, right now, options for watching Classic Who are you have to pay for BritBox, or if you're in America, there is a YouTube channel called Doctor Who Classic that has most of it, but they haven't finished putting everything on there yet. So there's like,
Random gaps.
I think like for the fourth Doctor, they're missing like one story per season, but
Oh,
they have
wow.
most of it.
Okay. I didn't realize they
Or
got
you
far
can-
enough along to have most of it.
Yeah, or you can, tell the internet that you're in Britain and watch it on BBC iPlayer.
We're not sponsored, so we can't use any specific names.
But I guess that does tie into our next bit of news, which is, in Britain, they're getting The War Between Lands and the Sea on December 8th with 2 episodes. And then Russell T Davies said on Instagram that December 14th is also getting 2 episodes. Although the news release didn't mention that. So maybe he wasn't supposed to say that.
He probably
so
said
over-
it because people were trying to figure out if it'll finish in time for Christmas. Because that's,
Yeah.
if you look at Sunday, December 7th, and then Sunday, December 14th, and then if it's 5 episodes, that
Yeah,
would take it past Christmas. But if it's 2 and 2, and then 1, that finishes before Christmas. So
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty soon. Unfortunately, we still don't know when it's showing up in North America. Well, I guess across the world.
it says 2026 in Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and that could be January 1st, that could be March, that could be July. We have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. At the same time, I'm in this weird place where like I don't know how like eager I am to watch this, because like I don't know what I'm going to get out of this show. Like everything we've seen, like it looks neat, I guess, but I really don't know what I'm supposed to be getting out of it other than like, woo, a Kate Stewart story. And she's not even the
Yeah.
main character. She plays the same role she does in Doctor Who of major supporting cast. But she's not on the
Yeah.
poster because she's not the main character.
Yeah, and they said that Russell Tovoy's character is like a low-level unit soldier.
Mhm.
So it's all about him. And Salt, the Sea Devil. That's her name, is Salt. Which is a very funny name.
I'm very cautious about this, that I feel like it's gonna just really muddle and make the Sea Devils and the Silurians and all that very confusing to navigate going forward. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll be cautiously optimistic, but
Yeah. I'm still not sure what I think about their design in this story. Like, I think they look neat, but they're very much not Sea Devils.
they're not
So
Sea
it's just-
Devils, but they are about as modernized as the Silurians became, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not too bothered by that, but given that we just, like, 3 years ago had CG Sea Devils that were, like, the exact look of the classics but modernized,
Yeah.
it feels a little weird, but
Yeah. Part of me wonders if they'll just do what they did with the Lurians and just have them take off a mask that was the original head.
oh my gosh.
That's what they
that'd
did.
Be funny.
Yeah, I'm I'm not sure what to think about the Word Between the Sea yet either. It is a bit interesting to note that on the poster for it that they released, it doesn't even say Doctor Who anywhere on it, which is a bit weird.
You would think it would say from the world of Doctor Who or something like that.
Yeah. I think they're really just trying to position it as just like a different drama, and like some people might watch it without knowing that it's tied to Doctor Who.
Maybe.
I think it would be very funny if like its airing on Disney Plus was more successful than all of the rest of Doctor Who.
That would be
very
so
funny.
unfortunate. That would be so unfortunate.
Because people can watch it without knowing it's a Doctor Who thing, and it'd be very funny if Disney was like, "Oh shit, we actually have a successful Doctor Who now, but we already ended the deal."
Yeah. We'll see what happens there. I imagine we'll find a way to watch it and do a podcast episode about it, but we still got some time to figure out if we're going to do it after it airs in the UK or after it airs internationally.
Yeah. Hopefully by December we'll be told when it will show up in North America, or across the world, I should say. And then we can decide. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what Disney wants to say about that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm hoping it will just be like January. And it's just like they have to do all the subtitles and stuff, so they just want a little bit of extra time. Something like that.
That would be nice if that's all it was, but we'll see.
Yeah. But then another bit of news is that Arthur Darvill and Karen Gillan are starting up a podcast of rewatching their time on Doctor Who.
I'm
Great name.
excited for this. I'm excited for this. I loved Amy and Rory. I'm of the opinion that Rory was like really done dirty in the show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, even like later doctors remembering their companions don't remember Rory, and that pisses me off. Rory deserves so much more than what he was ever given. Especially since they tried handling him very seriously at times, and then they just go right back to, nope, he's laughingstock. He technically never even really got to say goodbye to the Doctor.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the Ponds myself, mostly just because, like, I don't really care much for romance dramas, and that's basically what
fair.
their entire story was.
I liked them when it wasn't just about romance dramas.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they just, like every few episodes, Moffat was like, oh shit, they're actually getting along. We need to, like, introduce more drama to their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It got tiring for me. But I would probably listen to this podcast just because it'd be interesting to hear, like, their perspectives and everything.
I
and
think
behind-the-scenes stories and whatnot.
I think what's most interesting to me about this is that Arthur Darvill reveals he's not actually seen all of his episodes. Some of his episodes he just hasn't seen yet. So we'll get like a first reaction from him on some of these. But it does make me wonder how much the two of them kept up with the show as fans. Because we know, despite not watching all of his episodes, Arthur Darvill loved that role. The role of Rory was huge for him, and in terms of like fan stuff, he was like super into fan like fan support and everything. Like when COVID happened and all the lockdown stuff happened, and you had like the Doctor Who lockdown skits where like a bunch of actors tied to the show would like come back and film little like at home on their phone like little skits in character. I think Arthur Darvill did the first one. Or one of the first ones. Yeah. He was so up for it.
Yeah, and he's been in, like, convention scenes with other Doctor Who actors, so he probably knows at least, like, a little bit of what's happened after him.
Yeah.
Because he has to know the other actors, obviously.
Right.
I know Karen Gillan probably is a bit busy for Doctor Who stuff, exactly. But
she does do quite a lot. But I know, like, the Doctor Who's still been, like, huge for her, because that was, like, her big break, basically. Yeah, that's what led to everything else for her. So I know, like, it still holds a close place in her heart. And I mean, like, seeing that they're doing this, I think is really exciting because it shows, like, they're still lifelong friends. They're still hold their time on the show in high regard, and they want to come back to it to this degree. That I am excited to see what comes out of this.
Yeah. It is a little funny doing it without Matt Smith, but I guess he's probably just way too busy.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll try to steal him for an episode, but I guess trying to get all three of their schedules lining up is probably next to impossible.
Yeah, that's probably very difficult.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a little funny how like a lot of shows are doing these look back podcasts with the casts now.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a show that I actually like, so I'll listen to this one.
Oh yeah, they also said Stephen Moffat appears as a guest in one episode. So I definitely think they'll be able to get Matt Smith for at least one episode.
Yeah, if their schedules can line up at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Matt Smith is a very busy guy these days.
Well, so's Karen Gillan, but
Yeah. Matt Smith is in Star Wars, right? I think he's doing a Star Wars movie right now.
Is he? I don't
I think
remember that.
Starfighter
I think,
or something he was doing.
I think he finished the prequel series to Game of Thrones. I think it was prequel series.
Yeah.
I think he finished that. I don't know what he's been doing since that, but all I remember in terms of his other roles lately is when he did Morbius. And the only real thing he said in interviews was he did it because Karen Gillan egged him on to do it, and he's like, "Oh, love her. She's great with all of this, so she recommended I try it, and that's why I'm here." And like when you read his quote, you can't tell if he's happy or upset because of it.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, it also can be read like he's blaming her for being tied to this. But that feels like something as like a sarcasm, snarky relationship they would have anyway. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. And yeah, he was cast as the villain for a new Star Wars movie, and they're probably filming it right about now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The Starfighter thing with Oh, I was just looking at the article. I forget it was Ryan Gosling is the hero of that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They were supposed to be filming this fall, so they're probably still doing it right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're probably still doing that, and then the Ponds have already mentioned they already started recording a few episodes of this. Yeah. So, I mean, they have 3 seasons, or 2.5 seasons to get through, so...
Yeah.
We probably won't actively be talking about their podcast on our podcast, but I think we're noting that we'll tune into it at the very least because we're interested.
Yeah. I doubt they'll have anything to say that will be relative to Classic Who, so...
Right.
Yeah, and then there was also the 13th Doctor Big Finish released this last week, and it's sort of a Christmas special because it's set around Christmas, but it doesn't really have much to do with Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It is basically a very similar premise to It Takes You Away, which was like the mirror episode of the 13th Doctor.
That was one of my favorite stories from her, too. I thought that was such a good one.
It deals with grief and, like, somebody's relative comes back who's not supposed to be coming back.
Oh, boy.
Let's just say that. So it's a very similar concept to that one. It was good. It kind of has some of the same failings as that episode, though, without going into too much of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's just, like, it's a dealing with grief, but then, like, when it starts dealing with, like, Doctor Who monster stuff, it maybe goes a bit too far with that. More than it needs to. Okay. And then Big Finish did announce that they're also doing an 11th Doctor range with a new actor as the 11th Doctor, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah, go ahead.
The guy that did the 11th and 12th Doctor before left them, I guess, like last year. So now they have a new actor in the role. And I just think it's funny that the synopsis says that, like, he meets a new companion, then he takes her to Space Florida. And I'm like, wow, why would you take her there? Who wants to go to Space Florida? That's worse than Space New York.
My curiosity is, when would this fit in for him if it's a whole new companion? Because it has to be before Amy and Rory left then, because he went on this whole depression arc until he met Clara.
I know, like, between season 6 and season 7, he did leave the pawns behind at home. So you could just insert something in there.
So it probably has to be before then, because you even have, like, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, where he has, like, some other random episode-specific companions before picking up the pawns, and they even have the whole, like, are they the new us? Are they replacing us? So he clearly, like, in between series 6 and 7, he travels around a lot and probably has a bunch of other companions in that time.
Yeah, because in Asylum of the Daleks, they say it's been a long time since they saw each other. Well, from the Pawns' perspective, at least, it's been a while.
Yeah, at least a year, probably. And
Yeah.
then, in that case, because it was also after Series 6 and then the Christmas special, it was like 6 months between them thinking he died and then him showing up at Christmas.
Yeah. You can easily just insert stuff in there.
Yeah, you definitely can.
And, like, when he was supposed to go die, he also just, like, spent hundreds of years off doing something else.
Yeah, for some reason.
Because he mentions that he's a lot older towards there, so, there's a lot of room there. I know, like, they did have, like, a range with the 11th Doctor before, so I don't know exactly where it was set. I would assume probably around that time, though. But, yeah. I guess, for next time, we will be watching Revenge of the Cybermen, which is the finale of Season 12.
Oh, okay.
I wrote here it's a 6-parter, but it's actually a 4-parter.
Oh, okay. It's a 4-parter.
Yeah. And Harry will still be with us until the beginning of next season, but this is like the end of the space station Nerva stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the ongoing plot of the season. Yeah. And then I think Harry leaves in the first story of next season, but then he comes back in the Android Invasion, which is the 4th one.
Okay. So he stops being
like,
the active companion at the start of the next season, but he still...
Yeah.
It's not like he leaves in this last story that we're about to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And next season, we were starting with the Terror of the Zygons, so that'll be interesting.
Ooh, that will be a good one.
But yeah, if you'd like to join us, we have a Patreon, so for just $1 a month, you can get access to our Discord, where we'll encourage discussions between episodes about what we're watching, and you'll also get early access to episodes. And then for higher $5 a month, we have the higher tier, where you can watch live as we record. We'll have a text chat, where you can tell us that Genesis of the Daleks actually sucks, if you want.
It never deserved to be iconic or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, as a reminder, make sure to watch Revenge of the Cybermen before our next episode. We would normally say where you can find that, but that's a lot more complicated now. So we might just not say that anymore. And
possibly.
if you support us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you'll gain access to our Discord, as well as early access episodes. I've been Joy. You can find me on social media at Joy Content.
And I've been Triss. You can find me at Toontris.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.